You know, only feminists could claim that gender equality is gender inequality, and they only do it when it doesn't benefit them. Of course, why wouldn't they? They're the biggest hypocrites on planet Earth. Today's article is titled Heartbreak Defeat for WASPI Women as Court Rules Out State Pension Compensation. Now, WASPI is an anagram for something. It's an acronym for something. I'm going to share that with you shortly, but I just wanted to get started on this article because I've only got a very short time frame and I want to make this count for you. Women born in the 1950s lose fight for a financial settlement as Court of Appeal rules they were not discriminated against. Millions of women born in the 1950s who have seen their state pension age increase from 60 to 65 have been dealt a devastating blow by judges who ruled they will not receive any compensation for lost state pension income. 5 years worth. And that might sound like that's pretty harsh, but everything will make sense in a moment. The Court of Appeal ruled the women had not been discriminated against and backed the High Court's claims that the government was right to correct historic direct discrimination against men. Yes, you heard it. The High Court, the Court of Appeal, acknowledged that men have been historically discriminated against. That's a step in the right direction, if you ask me. But anyway, this marks a disappointing end to a long-fought campaign for women. Disappointing because they don't get special privileges? Of course. Disappointing end to a long-fought campaign for women who have argued they did not have time to prepare for the change, which they said has left them worse off in retirement. Now, I want you to remember that sentence. They haven't been left enough time to prepare for the change. Just keep that in mind, because that's going to be very important when we get to later in this article. Until 2010, women were entitled to receive the state pension from the age of 60. The government announced in 1995. Now, guys, I'm no mathematician, but right now we're in 2020. So this was 25 years ago. The government announced in 1995 that this would gradually increase to the age of 65 to bring it in line with men. Both ages now rise in tandem. So let me get this straight. 25 years was not enough time to prepare for the change. Of course it's not. Of course. Campaigners argued women born in the 1950s who were most affected by the cliff edge change to when they could retire were not given enough notice or detail. You got 25 years of notice! They said their retirement plans were scuppered and they'd lost out on state pension payments. You didn't lose out on anything. You were just getting shit that you shouldn't have been getting to begin with. That's what was happening. Right? And look, the repeated claim of feminists is that women are so oppressed, women are disadvantaged. This is a perfect example of how so much of that is BS and it's just lies to maintain special privileges. They had 25 years before the age rose to the same. For 25 years, guys, probably longer, guys have had to work an extra 5 years to get taxpayer funds. Women can just be like, oh, 60, sweet. I'm clocking out, baby. I'm on pension now. But men are like, you fucking serious, mate? We were twins. Like, born the same year, the same day, at the same time, and the dude's got to work an extra 5 years, an extra 60 months, an extra 1,700 days before he can get the pension. How's that for female privilege for you? Back to 60, a campaign, no doubt a feminist campaign group, leading the fight, took its plea to court after being granted approval to appeal a high court ruling against their claims last October. Now, I mentioned WASPI before. Women Against State Pension Inequality, known as WASPI, has also campaigned against the change. Against state pension inequality? And they're campaigning against it being equal? This is feminist logic 101 for you. However, you know, I reckon that guys who have worked the extra 5 years since 1995 should get back paid, but that's not going to happen, so I'm not going to harp on that. The complainants made by campaigners called for a reinstatement of the age of 60 for women's state pension. Ah, yes, of course. The bigotry of low expectations, as Independent Man would say. Shout out to Scott Crow. And the compensation for the amount they have missed out on since the ruling. They've argued that the change discriminated against 3.8 million people. No. 3.8 million women you're claiming that it discriminated against. But it's actually the men that it was discriminating against, not women. It was discriminating in favor of women, not against them. Leaving them £47,000 out of pockets. Oh, boo-hoo, go back to work. Davina Lloyd of Back to 60 said it is a travesty of justice in a misogynistic society. She said, we are fighters. We are fighters that can't work past 60 because it's too hard. We don't want to put in the effort, but we're fighters and cannot let this happen to any more women in this country. The judgment rules out all compensation on grounds of discrimination because there's none except for the historic discrimination against men. However, campaigners may still be able to claim there has been an injustice as a result of maladministration, arguing the government did not communicate the state pension age increase appropriately. Look, if that was the case, I can understand that. If it wasn't communicated clearly, if it wasn't, I get it. But still, you want equal, you got it. Don't complain when you get it. The Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman began investigating 6 complaints from women. Of course it was from women. Men wouldn't actually complain about having to work 5 hours more than the people with vaginas. 6 complaints with women affected in March. 6 complaints from women affected in March alone. Women most affected, of course. It's in the title. It has not indicated how long its verdict will take. Baroness Ros Altman, a former pensions minister, said the ruling did not come as a surprise as she never thought there was discrimination. However, she believed women were misled by the Department for Work and Pensions via miscommunication over the changes. Well, why am I not surprised that government screwed things up? A DWP spokesman said, we welcome the Court of Appeal's judgment, finding we acted entirely lawfully and did not discriminate on any grounds. We are pleased the court decided that due notice was given and that the claimant's arguments must fail. I agree. Ladies, you had 25 years. You had 25 years to save up, to work hard. You could even work until the age of 65 if you want to. If you wanted to be equal to men, you could work till 65. Tell me I'm wrong. Even if their pension age was 60, you could still work till you're 65. But you won't if you don't have to. And you don't want to, because then you'll finally find out what it's like to live like a man. Oh, this is so sweet. I just hope it happens in other countries very, very soon. Anyway, gentlemen, look, this was just a quick one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to donate, as always, to the Equipment Fund, feel free to head down to the description below. There's crypto, there's PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar, all of that stuff. But if you don't want to donate and you just want to follow me, then I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on here. I'm all over the place, mate. You just type in Sydney MGTOW and you'll find me online. Guys, I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. I will catch you in the next video, but until then, peace.